Yeah, we're back here with Memory Lane Garage, and we got a pretty cool Jeep. It's a 56 Willys. Willys is one of the most popular Jeeps still today. So they're very highly recognized and really liked by a lot of people. So we got a 56 Willys, and this Jeep had won second place at the last car show it was in, and we had it out the other day and we lost first, second, and reverse gear. So the only gear we got pulling is third gear. So we're gonna have to do some looking into this and find out what's wrong. Possibly rebuild the transmission. That's more likely what we're gonna end up having to do. And we know the clutch is weak, so that's gonna be replaced, and probably pull the engine and maybe look at some things there and possibly redo it. So this is gonna be a pretty long and pretty cool video. So Jeep lovers out there, this might be a video for you. So what we're doing is we're going to drain all the fluids out of it, the oil. We're going to drain the oil out of it, and we're going to drain the radiator fluid out of it. So right now I'm going to drain the radiator fluid. It's got a drain on this radiator, so start off with that, and hopefully I can land it in the bucket. So I got the fluid draining. We got the little cockpit open on there, and all the fluid's starting to drain out of there. It was kind of plugged up, so we had to get a little wire in there and poke in there and get that to flow out of there. And once it started going, it's draining, pretty slow, but it's coming out. So next up, while that's draining, I'm going to go ahead and pull the battery. Disconnecting my cables here. This has got a kill switch here. I like that. So I can disconnect the battery and still leave it connected. And when I want to go, I just can swing this valve over, this lever over, and it connects my battery. So I really like that. Anyway, we're going to disconnect this battery while it's draining. It's going to have to be taken out. And that's our next step. And then we're going to drain the oil. Okay, so I got these disconnected. I actually went ahead and labeled the wires to those. Not that that's too important, but it makes it easier when we go to install it. We just know the shorter one's going to be your positive, and the longer one on this case is going to be the negative. Negative is going to be here, positive is here, so it's going to take the little short one for the positive. This is going to stay on the battery. It's disconnected. Kick that out of the way and lift it off, and get it out of the way. Okay, so the battery is out. Actually, the tray looks really solid. That really is a first for me. It usually doesn't happen, especially something this old. So whether it's just was well taken care of, or it's been replaced, or I'm not real sure. But wow, it's still draining. How much does this have in it? I don't know. But it's still draining. Okay. Anyway, it's slowed down. I think it's about done. Maybe not. So this is my positive cable. I look at it. It's not the best in shape. I may be replacing this cable anyway. The negative is really good. It looks like it has been replaced. Yeah. All right, moving forward. Probably take these off. I'm going to need to get them out of my way. So radiator support bars, brackets bars, they're going to be out. So I've got to unbolt them here, just take them completely out. And again, I'll just probably loosen the threads here enough to be able to unbolt this bolt here, take this completely out, pull it out to slide. There's a little notch that goes in there, and once it gets loose, it'll come right out of there. Shouldn't be a big deal. 2 of those, so 1 on each side. That'll get that out of the way. It's gonna have to anyway. And then if this radiator quits draining, I'll be able to take it out. So, and the fan and everything, not a lot of room. So I'm gonna have to look at that and see what I need to do to actually pull the radiator. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I got those bars off there. These were a 1/2 inch on the back, 9/16 that went up to the front. They ran, as in the video, they ran across here. They're support for the radiator. So the one on each side. So the 1/2 inch on the back and the 9/16 on the front. We had to use a deep well on the front just because there was such a long thread up there. That's for your adjustment. Wow, it's still draining. My gosh. Okay. One of these days, maybe. Those are the bars. And so I went ahead and took off the front radiator hose that connects to the radiator. This would be the top radiator hose. And I've loosened it here. Let's see if it can come off without tearing it up. There it is. And that's it. That goes to the block. Actually goes right into the top of that block on that motor. Probably my next step is still draining. No worries. My next step will probably be to unbolt the exhaust from the manifold. These 2 bolts right here. I've had these off a year or so ago, so they shouldn't be that bad to take off, but we'll see. These manifolds can be a real pain, and a pain. Let's put it that way. And so this is a 1-piece manifold. Some of these weren't 1 piece, but this one here is a 1-piece manifold, so that makes it a lot better. And I'll end up unbolting here and here. And there's one there and one there and there. So 5 total on top, and then these 2 on the bottom. That bolts to the exhaust pipe. We'll get those taken off. That might be my next step. So this is a 9/16 as well. I got a deep socket on this. It's really not that bad. This one anyway. Yeah, that's really good. When I had this off a year ago, I used an Eastwood high heat some manifold coating, and you put it on with a brush, and of course it was sandblasted, and that's how it turned out. So I really like that stuff. Eastwood makes it. I can get you some details on that later if you're interested. It's really held up good on my vehicles. They, like any manifold, gets so hot. Actually, a nut on the bottom here. They get so hot that it's hard to keep anything on them that lasts. Paint or anything, it'll just come off. So look at that. Came right off there. That is awesome. Got my washer and nut. Just dropped the washer. All done by hand. That is awesome. Perfect. Wow. Couldn't ask for that to go any better. All right. So that is done. Just got to work it through the threads without damaging them. And this one has a threaded all the way in the thing, and this was just a bolt on this side that went right through. So pretty cool. All right, and it's about stopped, and it's about overflowed my pan. Okay, well, it's still coming out some, so we'll let it keep going till it keeps going, till it doesn't keep going. All right. So I got a mower running in the background. I didn't want to do this inside with the mess of the coolant and oil. I didn't want anything on the garage floor if I keep from it, so we pulled it outside to do this. But so I'm going to try to speak loud enough for y'all to hear, and I apologize for the background noise, but you know, that's life. So anyway, so I loosened this one. It's got this disconnected completely. That's your gasket. I'll probably get a new gasket kit, but I'm gonna hang on to this just in case. This ain't that old, so. Wow. Sweet. Can't get into that one. Let's take the deep well off that. Look at that. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So I still got to loosen that far one. I can't get a deep well in there with this firewall. They loosen up good, real easy. 9/16. So got a wrench. Want to lose my washer. Oh, look at here. It's done draining. Huh. Awesome. washer nut. Got that washer. That's all except for that far one, and I'll get it off and we'll pop that off. We got the manifold all bun bolted, and that's what she looks like. And that's that coating that I was telling you about, the Eastwood coating. And it stays good for a long time. Looks nice, looks brand new. And that's not a new manifold. That's an old manifold that's been sandblasted and recoated. And see, this is all one-piece deal on this Jeep. Some of them are more than or two-piece deal. This is all one piece. And that's what it looks like in the engine block. Now these gaskets are separate. They ain't a one thing piece gasket. This is one piece here, a piece here, and a piece here. So we went ahead and bottled up our coolant so we don't spill it, knock it over or anything, get it out of our way. So we got it in there and put them in a jug. It really looks really clean. I'm not sure if I'll reuse it, but it really does look clean. It may not be all that old. I might test it and see what we got for how good it is. The drain plug for the oil, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. So this is an inch wrench, and it's bigger than that. And I have a bigger wrench probably for it, but it's in a specialty box for specialty pulls I don't use much. That's an inch, and it's not too small. So I'm gonna bring out the crescent. I don't like using crescents on drain plugs, but on this case, we're gonna use it. So there it is. It's that size right there. Whatever size that is. And that right there, there's your plug.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
I know, I see it.
And it's all in there tight. Way tighter than it needs to be. Alright, so we got the plug out. I'm gonna wipe it off, put it back in. I'm not gonna fill oil in it because we're gonna be looking at taking this motor apart. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe the plug off. I'm not going to tighten it down near as tight as it was. It's the first time I've had it open since I owned it. First time I drained this oil. I figured we was going to do the motor, so, and it's been sitting, and we did all the rear ends and stuff on this Jeep a while back. So the axles, the drain, the brakes, everything on the undercarriage was done except for the engine and transmission. I end up getting my special tool, or one of my big sockets. I don't really say they're special, but they don't get used very much, especially for drain plugs. Half-inch drive, so I just barely snugged it on there because it's going to be back off again, more than likely. Okay, and that's the tool I ended up using to get that off there with, because that crescent, I didn't like how it was acting on there. I didn't want to strip these corners off around this bolt. That might be a hard bolt to find. I didn't want to damage it, so I went ahead and got the right tool for it, and it came off a lot easier. So I'm going to show you a picture of the oil, how dark it is. It's like coal oil. Not really, but it is dark. And I'm going to get it out of my way so I don't just end up spilling it like I almost am. So, I don't know if you can see it, but in that dark pan. But I'm going to look for any metal shavings as well when I go to empty this and just see what it looks like. But it is dark, it is dirty, it needed changed, and we drained it. So I'm going to take this lower radiator hose. It bolts, I call it a lower radiator hose because it bolts to the lower end of the radiator. It goes in here to the water pump. See if I can twist this one off first. Yeah, let's get the top one. Pop right off. If we can get the bottom one. Don't want to damage that radiator's spout. There we go. This is one, two. Twist it a little bit, and there she is. So on that socket, the socket that pulled that drain plug off the oil, that was 1 1/8 inch socket is what that took. So overkill for that, but that's the way they were made. That's a Willys for you. So I'm taking this piece off. It goes onto the carburetor. Get it out of my way. Just a little band screw, kind of like a clamp. It clamps that on there. Because I don't have no gears. You don't want this to ride. Let me get a block. That's a little carburetor right there on top.